We all lose patience when stuck in a traffic jam for 10 to 15 minutes. Then think about the situation if you were trapped for 8 years. It has actually happened. But not on land, but in the sea. In Suez Canal. Let's see how it turned out. Since its opening in 1869, Egypt's Suez Canal has been one of the most important routes to the World Trade Network. A ship coming from London to India needs to travel 9,000 kilometers less if it comes through the Suez Canal. Suez Canal created a revolution in sea travel. But the Suez Canal, which was so useful, had to be closed once. During the 1960s, problems between neighboring countries Israel and Egypt were very acute. These two countries are ready to fight at any moment. On June 5, 1967, 14 cargo ships entered the Suez Canal from the Mediterranean Sea. These ships can only enter the Red Sea on the other side after a 12-hour journey through the Suez Canal. But no one on that ship could have imagined that it would take 8 years to complete the 12-hour-long journey. When these ships reached the halfway point of the Suez Canal, Israel launched an unexpected air attack against Egypt. Bombs were dropped even in the vicinity of the Suez Canal. Within hours, the Egyptian government closed the Suez Canal. Those 14 ships in the middle were told to remain at anchor until further notice. But Israel won the war in just 6 days. Moreover, Israel conquered the Sinai Peninsula, which had been owned by the Egyptians until then. The Suez Canal is next to it. In short, the Suez Canal became the new border between Israel and Egypt. Realizing that the power of the Suez Canal would now be in the hands of Israel, Egypt applied a strategy. They closed both the entrances and exits to the canal. Bridges were destroyed and hundreds of thousands of explosive devices were planted underwater. Sailing a ship through the Suez Canal would be tantamount to suicide. Those 14 ships lying in the middle are in a bad condition. Can't go back and forth. With the closure of the Suez Canal, the cost of world trade rose sharply. Especially in Asian countries, the prices of goods kept increasing. Britain, Germany, Bulgaria, Sweden, Poland, and the United States were cargo ships that went through the Suez Canal. After lying there for months and seeing that there was no change in the situation, the people on that ship realized that this will not end well. So they found a way out. Of those 14 ships, 3 were formed into groups. Only 10 people were left in each group to carry out repairs on the ship, and the rest were sent home, hoping to get the ships out someday. This group of 10 people was changed every 6 months. Although they came from different countries, when they started living together for 6 months, they all developed a deep friendship. Sunday church programs were regularly held on German ships, movies and parties on Swedish ships, vegetable gardens on Bulgarian ships, and sports competitions on British ships. Over the years, sandstorms from the desert had filled the ships with dirt and turned into a yellow color. Therefore, this group of ships was called the Yellow Fleet. 6 years later, in 1973, another war broke out between Egypt and Israel. Both sides suffered heavy losses. Finally, they themselves signed a peace treaty and decided to stop fighting. But even after the war, the Suez Canal was by no means navigable. The canal was full of sunken ships, warplanes, and bombs. It took 2 years for Egypt to recover. So finally, on June 5, 1975, that is, 8 years after those ships stuck inside the canal, the way was prepared for the ships to leave. By that time, only 2 of the 14 German ships were in fit condition. A huge crowd was waiting to give a grand welcome to those ships that returned home after 8 years. And so there was a peaceful end to the biggest traffic jam in human history.